Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of 1990's Represent. We're still in our first cycle of 1997. In this episode, we're talking about the action classic Face Off with John Travolta and Nicolas Cage in dual roles. It's an awesome film. I only saw it once in theaters, and it was when it first came out back in 1997. There was a theater here locally. This is probably 5 years ago at this point. That was going to show this as part of an action series. They did True Lies. They did Speed, a bunch of other great 90s classics, and they were going to show Face Off. And my friends and I went to the theater to see it. And for some reason, they canceled the screening. Don't know exactly why, but kind of annoying, pretty annoying. So came back. It was actually that night. Ended up purchasing it on Amazon. It was like $4 or something like that. I'm like, totally worth it. So I watched it that night. That was probably 5 years ago. So the last time I saw this movie was probably about 5 years ago. I think I saw it on HBO like once back when it first came out, maybe a year after the release. So I think I've seen the movie like a total of 4 times, but it's just a classic film. The concept is kind of silly, but it's executed perfectly. Both Nicolas Cage and John Travolta do great jobs playing both the hero and the villain, and then the hero and the villain as the other characters. His character is great. Got some notes here about it, and then we're just going to discuss kind of the film itself. So, first released June 27th, 1997. I saw it that weekend. This was John Woo's first Hollywood film where he had major control over or major creative control. He had done prior to this one, he did Broken Arrow, which also stars John Travolta. That one's decent. It's not nearly as good as Face Off, and I think right before that, John Woo did Hard Target with Jean-Claude Van Damme, which is actually also a decent action film. Got some pretty good stuff in that. But this is the first one where he had more creative control than those previous 2 films. And you could tell he's kind of got the doves are there, that kind of the classic John Woo slow-mo is there. There's parts where you see Nicolas Cage diving and shooting twin gold-plated pistols. It's just very stylish. It's very awesome. The budget on this movie was around $80 million and then ended up grossing about $245 million. In my research, I think I came up to be the 11th highest grossing film that year. So pretty good there. Apparently, the concept of the movie of taking somebody's face off, as Nicolas Cage would say, actually happened. So apparently the writers of this film had a mutual friend that was injured in a hang gliding accident, pretty severely injured, and apparently they actually had to remove the guy's face to do the surgery. So that guy's surgery was kind of what inspired them to basically be the whole concept of the movie is they take somebody's face off, literally, and put it on somebody else's body, and then the villain ends up doing the same thing. But we'll get to that a little bit when we discuss the actual plot to the film. But so based on an actual surgery, which is pretty cool. Some other actors, I think actors or actor pairings that were considered for this were Schwarzenegger and Stallone, Michael Douglas and Harrison Ford, and Alec Baldwin and Bruce Willis. Now, I don't necessarily know if they were cast as the pair, if it was Alec Baldwin and Bruce Willis, if they would switch, or if these are just potential other actors that were tapped to maybe do the film. But Stallone and Schwarzenegger there was huge rumors about them doing it. But I think John Travolta and Nicolas Cage just are the perfect pairing for this movie. It would be interesting to see what the movie would have been like with these other pairings. But I just think Travolta and Cage together is just perfection. They both get to play the hero. They both get to play the villain. They both get to do somewhat serious acting in the role of the Sean Archer role, which is the hero role. But then they also just get to chew the scenery as Castor Troy, which is the villain role. So Nicolas Cage specifically, there's a bit in the beginning where he's wearing a I don't want to say a minister, but a priest robe, and he does the crazy thing where he gets his eyes all bugged out, and the whole thing on the plane. And there's a scene where he literally shoots a hostage on the plane, drops her off, and his expression is just like that. So I definitely think Nicolas Cage is the better of the two in this film, but John Travolta also just totally brings it as the kind of FBI agent Sean Archer, and then also as Sean Archer or Castor Troy wearing Sean Archer's face. Nicolas Cage does the same where he's chewing scenery as Castor Troy, and then in the more serious role where he is Sean Archer as Castor Troy. Just an amazing concept. It's really, really cool. It borders on sci-fi because like there's some elements like just like the face transplant and like making the other person look the same. Like they actually, I remember rewatching this recently, like yesterday or the day before, and thinking of like, okay, you can change their face, but then how do you like make their body like weight? Can they actually do like they're like the doctor in the movie mentioned? So it's like, all right, we're gonna do like a like weight reduction or weight gain, like basically make you look like this person. And they even say like the eyes are like marginal, they're probably not gonna notice that, stuff like that. But just awesome from them. Apparently, just a little bit of trivia: Castor and Pollux are also the twins that form the Gemini constellation. So Castor Troy is obviously the villain, but Pollux Troy is like the brother of the villain that is like in on the whole plan the entire time, or Castor Troy's plan, I should say. Hans Zimmer did the score for this movie. Really cool. The movie's just got amazing, amazing action. Like I said, there's slow-mo shots. There's great shootouts. There's like the shootout on like the plane in the plane hangar is awesome. There's a shootout where like a bunch of FBI agents show up at where Castor Troy's hiding out, but it's actually Sean Archer. And there's a great shootout there. There's like some like really cool use of Somewhere Over the Rainbow during that slow motion, and then there's like a great shootout in like on like a beach, like I think it's on like on a beach, but it's like a beach like a church or a temple on a beach. It just is very stylish and looks awesome. So the great action. Apparently there was rumor or news of a remake. I think sometime in like the late in 2019 or something, there was rumors that the company had been tasked with or potentially tasked with doing a, well, it said like sequel slash remake. I hope that's not. I hope that just sits in development hell, because this movie does not need to be remade. Just watch the classic with Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. I can't think of any other actors I would want in like a remake, unless they maybe remade it with Travolta and Cage, but I don't think they would want to do that, and I don't think that would be great. Like, just leave the classic alone. But so hopefully there is no remake, because I know when they did like the Point Break remake, I never even saw that, but that was apparently just supposed to be like terrible. So just leave it alone. Don't remake it. But now we're going to get into the plot of the film. And the main selling point of the film is that both these actors will play both Castor Troy and Sean Archer. So Nicolas Cage plays Castor Troy. John Travolta plays Sean Archer. They switch faces basically to where Sean Archer now is wearing the face of Castor Troy, and Castor Troy is wearing the face of Sean Archer. That's the main selling point of the film, and it's just a great actor showcase of like playing the, like, it would be easy if it was just like, okay, like Nicolas Cage, you're playing Castor Troy the entire time, like Travolta, you're doing Sean Archer the entire time, but then they need to, like change up their acting style based on which version of the character they're playing and whose face they're wearing at that time. It's just a really cool like actor showcase, a great like character study as well. But onto the plot of the film. So the film starts off 6 years in the past, where you see Sean Archer on like a merry-go-round, yeah. No, it's not a merry-go-round, a carousel. Sorry, merry-go-round is the other thing. But like, yeah, carousel with his kid. You see in the distance, you see Castor Troy with a sniper rifle. And just even with this scene, they set up that Castor Troy is kind of like, it's just, you see him like looking through a sniper rifle scope, taking a sip of like a drink, like a soda or something, and how he is definitely just over the top. Even with that scene, he doesn't even say a word. You just see him take a sip of soda, look through the scope, goes back to the drink, drinks some more soda. He shoots Sean Archer. The bullet ends up going through Sean Archer into his kid. The kid dies, and then it flashes forward to 6 years later, where Sean Archer is in the FBI and they're trying to get Castor Troy. Nothing's really come up over that 6 year period. However, they get a tip off that Pollux Troy, Castor's brother, has chartered a plane on some like runway, like a private like runway somewhere. So the FBI intercepts the plane there, and prior to this, you see Castor Troy plant a bomb in the LA Convention Center, and then that's where he's wearing the priest robes and all that, and it's just super over the top. They get to the runway, the plane's about to take off, but the FBI intercepts it. There's a huge shootout between the FBI and Castor Troy's people. They end up in a hangar, and this is where you see like Castor Troy jump out of like the plane, doing the classic John Woo like diving things. If you ever played the Stranglehold video game, you know what I'm talking about. Or Enter the Matrix. It's all kind of that kind of like gunplay essentially. Sean Archer has Castor Troy basically where he wants him, and Castor Troy's like, well, if you kill me, you're not going to know where this bomb is, and all this stuff. So, like, this wind tunnel gets activated, and Castor Troy is essentially in a coma at this point. Travolta's character, Sean Archer, goes back home, tells his wife that, like, hey, I got him. Like, I'm done with the FBI. Like, I'm done now, kind of thing. And then he's back at work, and they realize that Castor Troy is still alive, or, like, he's being kept alive on like life support basically. They say that Pollux isn't talking, and the only person he's probably going to talk to is Castor Troy, and that's where we devise the plan to, take Castor Troy's face and put it on Sean Archer. So they do the surgery. Now Nicolas Cage as Sean Archer is put into this like top security like prison where they have like magnetized boots, where they basically it's a hell of a prison basically. He talks to Pollux, he gets into a fight there, basically like even Pollux is kind of not buying it initially. He's like, hey, I spoon fed you that medicine, and Pollux is like, well, what medicine was that? And then like I think he knows what the medicine is, and then Pollux gives him the location of where the bomb is going to be, which is the LA Convention Center. They already knew the date, but they have the location now. So now that they have that, that's all well and good, but in having your face cut off, as Nicolas Cage's character say, having your face cut off to disturb your slumber is a good way to get woken up. So Castor Troy wakes up without a face, sees Travolta's face in this like thing of water or like chemicals to like preserve it so they can put it back on later. He calls his gang. They show up at the like medical facility where this is happening, and they basically force the doctor to be like, hey, like do the surgery to me. Like, take my face off, or take, my face is already gone, actually, but, like, take Travolta's face, put it on me, and now you have Castor Troy parading around as Sean Archer. So he goes to the prison, and this really cool reveal happens. You see, like, Nicolas Cage is sitting in this, like, cell, and you see that Pollux is like, well, I think, like, Travolta basically shows up, and he's like, haha, I got your stuff. Like, he's like, I'm you now. I tortured all the evidence to prove this. So he's like, have fun, and then he leaves, and you see that like Pollux is also leaving too, because Castor Troy, at like wearing Archer's face, has said he's like, well, he's gonna turn evidence over for us. So basically, like we have a plea deal for Pollux Troy now, so he's free. Now Nicolas Cage is just stuck in jail. He's now got to get out of jail, a different way. Castor Troy defuses the bomb because I think the plan initially was for the bomb to go off, but now he defuses it and becomes like a hero within the FBI, and then gets more and more power. And now this is like a really cool like power play by Castor Troy. He's like, hey, like if I'm like this like super high up guy in the FBI, we can do whatever we want. Basically, that's kind of where it goes. Eventually, Castor Troy, or Sean Archer gets out of prison and shows up at his there's they show up at like a hideout, and basically like Castor Troy shows up. They think it's Castor. Obviously it's Castor because it looks like him, but it's actually Sean Archer. You meet Castor Archer's son, who is like and like the mother of the son. So then he's like, well, I need to like protect this kid. Um, they find out, or the actual Castor Troy finds out what's going on and sends an FBI like hit squad there. A really cool shootout ensues. All while this is happening, like between scenes, is you see Castor Troy like living at Sean Archer's house, like sleeping in the same bed as his wife, and it gets really kind of creepy in like a really cool way because it's like great just character study on how Travolta is playing this role. But after that, you have Purcell, I think his name is. He's in Fargo, and he plays the FBI director, and the FBI director is now upset with Sean Archer because he's like, "Hey, you got a bunch of my guys killed. Like, what's going on?" Castor, as Sean kills him, makes it look like a heart attack. So now he is going to become the director of the FBI or whatever their branch, whatever like agency they're in. So he's going to get even more power. They have a funeral for the former director. I think Victor Laszlo is the character's name. And then kind of everything comes to a head at that funeral. You have Castor Troy there as Sean Archer. You have Sean Archer as Castor Troy there. A huge shootout ensues where Castor Troy's girlfriend gets killed, and he's like, hey, protect our son. To Castor Troy, not knowing that it's actually Sean Archer. After that, you have a boat chase between the characters, and it results in like a final fight between them, on like this like kind of like beach or like near this like dock or whatever it is, and Sean Archer as Castor Troy shoots Travolta's character with a spear gun, and I think at this point Castor Troy knows it's over, so he grabs a knife and he just starts carving his face up, like maybe hoping that they won't be able to like reverse the scars or something like that. I don't really know. At that point, Nicolas Cage's character gets the upper hand, kills the Travolta character, and that's kind of the end of the film, or like the major end of it. The surgery gets reversed, and there was a scar that Travolta's character had on his chest to remind him of his son, and like the kind of like end of Castor Troy. They took that scar off when they did the surgery initially, and he's like, "Hey, I had a scar here when I was like," he's like, "I don't need that back. That's fine. I'm over that now." And then at the end of the film, it shows Sean Archer as Travolta as Sean Archer show back up in his house, and he's got Castor Troy's kid because he made the promise to Castor Troy's girlfriend to take care of him. So now, I think the kid's name is Alex. I don't remember the kid's name, but like he's now living with them. So basically, kind of like happy ending for the Travolta character. But just a classic 90s action film. If you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend watching it. It's awesome. Like the concept is like kind of like on paper sounds really silly, but John Woo does a great job of directing it. Both Nicolas Cage and John Travolta do an amazing job of playing both the hero and the villain. The action is just like fast paced. The shootouts are great. The dialogue is awesome. It's a classic film. Definitely check it out. That is going to do it for this episode. We'll be back again in a few days. We'll be doing a video game. And then after that, we'll be moving into 1998. I don't exactly know what we're going to cover for 1998 because we did that series last year. But then we'll be going into 1999 and then starting the entire series again with a fresh cycle starting from 1990 all the way to 1999 again. But again, that's going to do it for now. So remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Thanks again for watching. Take care and have a good one. See ya.